Hello, I'm Tracy Lael, and I will be doing part one of my case assignment for MFT 630, which is the informed consent role play. Hello, Cedric. It's nice to finally meet you.
Hi.
I'm glad you're able to come in. Great. Um, so I want to say that I'm glad you came in and that I know we talked about a couple of things on the phone, and you mentioned to me over the phone about some issues you may be having with anxiety, and you want to maybe try to work through those things, and I am happy to help you do so. Excuse me. But I have to go over some things with you. I know I went over these things pretty briefly over the phone, but here's just to reiterate. So I'm an MFT trainee, which means that I am working under the license of my supervisor here, Lori Brown, and she is allowing me to work here to gain experience and to gain hours for classes that I am taking. So I want to know, I know that when we scheduled this appointment, like I said, we talked about your anxiety. And so how this will go is we'll go over I'll be asking a lot of questions. And we'll go over things that are of your concern and what you see is going on. And when I'm done, I'll kind of assess the situation and say, these are the things that I think that we can possibly work on. And then, you can say what you would like to work on. And, we'll kind of go back and forth and see if this will be a good fit for you. If it's a good fit for me. And then if it's not a good fit, then I can see about getting you a referral to somebody who can be of help for you. Any questions about that?
No, that's pretty clear.
Great. So, of course, as with everything in the world, this comes along with a couple of policies and procedures we got to go through. So, some paperwork that we need to talk about. So, this is a copy of our what we call informed consent. This paper is online. You can access it online, so you can go into more detail about it. Or if you ever want to come back and check anything, it's online always. You can look at it when you come in for, before a session, whatever you may need to do to make sure that you're very clear on what we're going to talk about. The first thing I want to talk to you about is our cancellation policy. We would prefer at least 24 hours notice if you are going to cancel. We do know that emergencies come up, flat tire, baby sick, whatever it is. So, just let us know as soon as possible so that we can plan accordingly. Emergencies for after hours. We have a number for you for a crisis center if you have any emergency, you need to talk to somebody right away. We do have an after hours number that we do listen to. It's a message machine, so you leave your message and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But if there's a real emergency, you need to call 911. If you're having anxiety or you're having trouble or you're having some troubling thoughts, then the 1-800 number is the perfect number for you to call. Then going along the path of termination, if we're working together and we don't see any progress, if you feel like you're not making any progress and you want to terminate, that is your choice. You can absolutely do so. We want to make sure you're comfortable. If I feel like I'm saying the same things over and we're not making progress, then I might suggest that we terminate and we find somebody that can help you make progress that you need. And then just if you're canceling all the time, you're showing up late all the time, you don't seem like you're very interested, that may be cause for termination also.
Sure.
Any questions so far?
No, that's clear.
Okay. As far as financial, we do take insurance here, and then whatever the insurance isn't paid, you're responsible for. So, and I believe the payment is due upon service. So just so you know that information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so moving right along to confidentiality. Anything you say in here between you and I stays between you and I. There are limits to this, though. Those are the important factors I need to go over with you. There's several cases where I have to kind of break confidentiality, so to speak. And the first case would be if you say you are going to harm yourself or you're going to harm someone else. If you do say that and it is a very serious threat and it's a credible threat, I do have to notify the correct authorities. And if you're talking about hurting somebody else, then I need to notify them also. That's my duty to do so. It's my duty to warn somebody about any trouble that may be coming their way, because I'm here to protect you and to protect those around us, or everybody involved. If you tell me of any type of child abuse, elder abuse, disabled person being abused, even if it has nothing to do with your whatever it is you're telling me, you could just be telling me a story about your neighbor or so. If I hear about the abuse, I'm a mandated reporter and I have to report the abuse.
Okay.
Secondly, I won't give out information unless you authorize it. So say, for example, your primary doctor wants to know some details about our sessions. I won't disclose any information unless I have a signed written consent from you to do so. So you have to authorize it. And lastly, something that's kind of, I guess you could say, a little bit rare is if I am summoned by a judge to come and testify because you're involved in some type of civil court case or whatnot, then I am obligated to go and give a testimony. And I want to make clear, so anytime, just because you may say that you know, like, oh, I'm so mad, like, I want to beat myself up for this and that. Like, if you say something kind of like that or anything close to, you know, like, oh, man, I could just die right now. You know, that I won't take as, like, a serious threat to your life. So just because you say something like that, even if sometimes people have thoughts of, you know, doing something, harming themselves. Only if I deem it as a credible thought, as a credible threat to yourself or to the other person, will I be making the correct report for that. Any questions on the limits to confidentiality?
No.
Okay. Well, and now I just want to talk to you about the risk and benefits of being here in general. So, being in therapy, it could be a really big eye-opening experience. So, you may feel worse. If you're coming to me for anxiety, you could feel more stressed because you're telling me, you're disclosing information that you normally wouldn't. You know, you become more self-aware, so you're in touch with your feelings and you know what's going on. You're kind of enlightening yourself on yourself. So, you know, feelings of despair or sadness can come, but I want you to know that that's normal, and it may take a little bit to get to a point where you start to feel better. So it's not like therapy is just like a magic session where one day you come in, you tell me what's going on, and then we fix it that day. That's not how it works. Sometimes you have to get worse before you get better. So these are the risks that you would take coming here. So one day you might not feel so great after leaving, but then 5 sessions later you feel much better. Any questions about that?
No, it's clear.
Okay, well, if you don't have any questions, you can sign right here. And if anything ever does come up, we can talk about it again. Like I said, this is always available, and we'll go over it anytime you need to if you have any questions about anything.
Okay.
All right.